our mic for a second.
Yeah. Yo, welcome back to the Out the Box Show. I'm John Wallace alongside my co-host James Luffy and Rory Luke. Holy cow, Rory Luke is back in the studio of the Out the Box podcast. Let's go. What a better time for Rory to make his long-awaited return to the show as LSU punches their ticket to Omaha. LSU headed back to Omaha. LSU North, LSU Midwest, Mid-Northwest. Some might call it. It's LSU's second home. Some might call it the first home. If you skip Burtman, you spent half the 90s there. LSU is on their way back. Could not be more pumped. This is the whole reason we did this show. When we started the show years ago, this is what we were looking for. You know, we battled through trials and tribulations. 3 weeks into the first year of the Out of the Box podcast, COVID broke out. We have battled through just as much adversity as the LSU baseball program has in the past 3 years. And all in all, it's great to be going back to Omaha. And Rory, it's great to have you back on the podcast.
Great to be here. Happy to be back. Had to come back for this week. I mean, got to be the most important episode probably we've ever had.
Yeah, first time in Omaha since we've been doing it. Very fired up.
Yeah. I'm here for it. Guys, we got a lot to break down. LSU, I'm going to just go ahead and say it. Like, overall, throughout the Super Regional, LSU shellacked Kentucky. They for the most part, dominated Kentucky. I think the final run line on the weekend was like 22-5 or whatever. Another team did that in one game to punch their ticket to Omaha. We're going to get to all that as well. They're actually on our side of the bracket. We play Tennessee this Saturday at 6 p.m. in Omaha, Nebraska. We have probably our most packed show ever. Like Rory and Luffy said, this is probably our most important show since we have begun the Out the Box podcast. Cannot wait to get to it. But before we get to it, I want to give a huge shout out to Blaine Loop with Keller Williams Realty. I'm just kidding. Rory flinched there for a second. It's Forte Realty. You thought I was going to miss that. No, it is Forte Realty. They are a group of young real estate agents ready to take the state by storm. Blaine is the man. Blaine will be cheering on the Tigers throughout their Omaha journey. Make sure to give them a call or text at 504-858-0031 for all your housing needs. Blaine has been my personal realtor before. He has been my personal friend before, my agent, and my neighbor. You name it. Make sure to call or text Blaine at 504-858-0031 for all your housing needs. Also, give a huge shout out to the Boot Crew Media Network. We couldn't do it without the Boot Crew Media Network. They've been posting tons of LSU content since LSU punched their ticket the other day. They're posting all kind of Saints news, summertime, you name it. The Boot Crew Media Network is where it's at. BootCrewMedia.com and on social media at Boot Crew Media. All right, guys, we're obviously riding high. I got a little whiskey poured to celebrate the Tigers punching their ticket. I think the best way to do this is to kind of recap the Super Regional, look ahead towards Omaha, break down our opponent, Tennessee, who we mentioned previously in the show, that we'll be taking on Saturday night at 6 p.m. in Omaha. And then we'll kind of look back at how LSU fared against Tennessee in the first series back in March. Some might remember that was the weekend of April Fools. We're not making any jokes here. But all in all, fantastic performance by LSU in the Super Regional. LSU defeated Kentucky by a score of 14-0 in Game 1 and Game 2. They defeated Kentucky by a score of 8-3. And Luffy, if I do want to remind you, last week you and I both made the wrong prediction on how the weekend was going to go. I think you said that we were going to lose in 3 games, or you said we were Okay, you said it was a 2, so you were way more wrong than I was.
I had us winning in 2. I had the Tigers in 2. I was saying that all weekend. Come on now.
Yeah, but there was a shade of doubt. There was a shade of doubt in what you were saying. So
no,
I think
you said we would win in 3, and I said if we go to a game 3, we'll lose. But I'll take us Tigers in 2. It was my official prediction.
Tomato, but that does leave kind of a shed of doubt. LSU sweeps Kentucky. It was kind of more of the same type of series as we saw when we faced Kentucky the first time in the regular season. Absolutely dominating performance. We're going to get to all of it. I think the first thing that we want to touch on is the weather delay. I know it's kind of old news. I know it's what everybody was talking about. But I just want to go ahead and say that, we said that we were going to be tailgating on Saturday. Everybody knew it. The NCAA knew it. Kentucky knew it. It just felt like the tailgating gods were sabotaging us to not be able to have the best tailgate possible. We had the grill. We had the speaker. We had 2 tents. We had a bunch of chairs, good food, good vibes. We had over 100 people out there at the tailgate, and then they postpone the game at first pitch. Rory, I want to start with you. And I know Luffy was dealing with some personal stuff during the wedding or during the rain delay. He was at a wedding. But Rory, what did you do during the rain delay?
Well, let's see. I'm trying to think. So I had just gotten back from the beach Saturday, but we got back at like 11, so it wasn't going to cut into the start time at all. But I don't know. The rain delay kind of worked out in my favor because by the 9 o'clock start time, had the kid in bed, 100% focused, eyeballs on the game. I had probably a drink as well. I was 100% in. I will say, look, hand up. I will say, 8th inning, switched from the living room to the bedroom TV, and I didn't see the ninth. I was watching the back of my eyelids for the ninth.
Roy, I kind of got you covered because I was gone, and then when we finally got home, it was the day wedding. We called the 9th inning. So missed most of the game, but obviously it set it up for LSU exactly how we wanted it, with Skeens getting through 7 2/3, and then a big enough lead where Money comes in and is able to close the game out. And then offensively, John, I'll let you talk about that, or y'all talk about that since y'all watched the game. But I know there was a lot of bombs to go around.
Yeah. So, and for somebody that was in Baton Rouge for the entire weather delay, we did audible. We were not some of the crazy LSU fans that sat out there throughout the whole thing, but we were maintaining that sort of energy that we had leading up to 2 o'clock. We picked up the tailgate stuff and brought the tailgate to a pool, right? Because summertime and pools just go together as well as baseball. But we maintained the focus. And, the whole time we're sitting there thinking, if they postpone the game and I'm able to look up at the sky and see what is essentially sunny and 75 at 2 p.m. on a Saturday in Baton Rouge, it's just are they ever going to play this game? And I had people texting me, calling me, sending me videos of the weather where they were at. My dad, I was actually 3 miles away from my house, and my dad took a video of the sky and sent it to me 3 miles away from where I was at. And I said, Dad, the sky looks exactly the same where I'm at. The sky looks where you're at. But it was absolutely bizarre. I get it. You cannot waste Skeens in a super regional. Jay Johnson's absolutely right. And some of the decisions that Jay Johnson has made that has had LSU fans kind of scratching their head have pretty much always worked out in LSU's favor. You think of Skeens starting the first game in the regional against Tulane. You think of the weather delay. It wasn't just Jay Johnson that made this call, but it was very odd to say the least. But all in all, it worked out in LSU's favor, and we're going to get into kind of the nuts and bolts of the game. Like you mentioned, Luffy, Skeens went 7 2/3, 101 pitches, only had 9 strikeouts, was a little bit off of his game, if you might say.
Only had 9.
It sounds weird to say, given that he's averaging 11 or 12 strikeouts a game, but Yeah, the bats were out of control. We had 6 home runs. Trey Morgan had 2. Tommy White had 2, along with Pearson and Dugas had 1 each. 6 total home runs in the game. It was a slugfest, and I think the biggest concern for LSU fans, short of like them going out to Alex Box and having to head back or drink too much in the interim or whatnot, was LSU's team able to stay focused? And I don't think they could have like stated any more clearly how focused they stayed in the 7-hour rain delay than what they were able to go out and do Saturday night in Alex Box.
Yeah, shout out to the fans too.
Yeah, no, it really was like you were kind of worried about it, but then Skeens was on the bump. He was throwing hard, and then Trey Morgan hit that home run in the first inning, and the crowd, that picked everybody up, and everybody was in it. It was a classic Alex Box night game after that home run. I think the people were rowdy, the students were there, the students were rowdy. A few of the older people, they might have left, but it's okay. They don't make too much noise anyway. So, I will say that I think at the end of the day, well, it obviously worked out, but I think Skeens was just, he's that military guy. He's focused. And I think by the time that the game actually started, he was just so upset and so angry that he just went out there and he was ready to go. He was ready to pitch. He had it building up all day, kind of got ready. And then they're like, no, I think with that military mindset, he never got off his game, and it just kind of built up and kind of just like pent up, and it was just pent up energy. And then he finally, went out there and threw an amazing game.
Yeah, and I'm really happy that Skeens got the curtain call like he did. Glad Jay did that. I mean, the dude, he's only been at LSU for 1 year, but obviously he's brought us 13 wins statistically. I think was it 12 before the other night, or did the other night make 12? But anyway, he's
12.
15 away from the record, right? From Ben McDonald's record, tying,
yes,
or
he's 15 away from beating it. So that's what I got written down. Ben McDonald's 1989 single season strikeout record is 202 strikeouts in one season. Yeah. Paul Skeens is sitting right at 188, so he has to get 15 to beat it.
And obviously, if he pitches 2 games, he will get that. I think that's fairly obvious. He'd have to go out there and do a lot. And his strikeout numbers, like in a couple games, have been down, even against Tulane. But that's almost good. It allows him to work deeper in the game and not throw as many pitches.
Yeah. And Ben McDonald, I was listening to After Further Review with Matt Moscona the other day, and he straight up asked him, he goes, do you want Paul Skeens to beat your record? He goes, well, absolutely I do. If that means LSU is going back home to Omaha and winning a national championship, of course I do. I think what I don't want to say it gets lost, but I think given that it was 30 years ago, I think people forget that Ben McDonald pitched 152 and a third inning. Paul Skeens has done this in 107 innings. So just say Paul Skeens were to pitch another 14 innings, that would put him at 121 innings, and he would have already beat the record 30 less than what Ben McDonald did. So I think that's just important to realize, like a point of reference of how incredible what he's doing is, and how like you need to go ahead and like savor this right now, because it may be a while before you see something this cool again.
I mean, I think, and just to kind of piggyback off what you're saying, I don't remember if it was Friday or Saturday night, Ben McDonald talked about Cruz, how a college baseball team has never had the first and second pick. And I mean, with everything that it looks like LSU will probably have the first and second pick. And I think that's just a testament to the coaching staff for bringing in, for getting Cruz on the campus in the first place. I mean, that was Maneri, but still getting Cruz on the first into campus, and then bringing in Skeens, and honestly allowing Skeens to take a step, because, and we'll talk about Tennessee later, but the guy at Tennessee that we're going to see he was supposed to be that guy, where Skeens is now. So Skeens took that step, and I think that's a testament to him and the coaching staff as well.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's been an unreal year. Right? There's not the stats and everything are almost look like video game stats. I mean, they are video game stats. So, very happy. I was just pumped to see him get that final curtain call. He doesn't really smile or anything, and he's pretty serious. And he kind of put his head down and just listened to everything as he walked off the field. It was cool to see.
All right, let's get on to game 2, where there was a couple more curtain calls in game 2, being that this was some of the guys' last game ever in Alex Box Stadium. Final score of this game was LSU 8, Kentucky 3. Ty Floyd started out on the mound, went 3 1/3, gave up 7 hits, 3 runs. They were, I believe, all solo shots. I feel like if you're going to give up a home run, a jack is the least deadly. But Ty Floyd, gave a 3 good innings, and Riley Cooper came in and filled the gap like he always does. And then our closer for this LSU baseball team, Gavin Guidry, came in and punched out the last 2 2/3 innings. Great performance by our pitching staff. We did get out hit in this game. Luffy, I know you know how much I've been kind of complaining about that, but it was only by 1 hit, and we made the hits and the RBIs whenever it counted. Probably, my play of the game and a friend of the show is Kate Beloso's 3-run home run in the 3rd. That kind of sparked LSU out to a 5-1 lead, because LSU was the away team in this matchup. Kentucky did score in the bottom half of the inning, but it was tight until then. And then LSU wrapped it up with 3 in the 9th. But all that to say, it was cool to see some of the curtain calls. Some notable plate appearances during this game was Gavin Guidry getting hit, I believe, 3 times with a baseball and getting walked.
Gavin Dugas.
Yeah, Gavin Dugas. Did I say Guidry?
Yeah.
Yeah, you said Guidry.
Yeah. Sorry, there's too many Gavins on the team. But anyway, it's like, how is he not leading the nation in hit by pitches this year? It seems like every time he goes to bat, that's what happens. And in previous years, it was, he's about to make a clutch hit, but he's contributing and he's staying disciplined at the plate. And a lot of people think he's just getting hit by pitches. It's unlucky. That's discipline at the plate. That's working the count. That's realizing who is pitching against you and not necessarily leaning into the pitch, but also not getting out of the way of it. So all in all, I think this was more of a gritty game. I would have liked to see Thatcher Hurd get in at least a little bit during the game, but other than that, it was just let's just punch this team out on a Sunday night. There was no weather delays, thankfully, and let's punch our ticket to Omaha.
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about Gavin Guidry for a second. We've been talking about him, just saying he's got that dog in him. Like, I think it was the second time he pitched. Maybe it was a weeknight, and like you could tell he was fired up to close the game out, and that's kind of when we know. And then he got in some big spots, and then they started putting him in some big spots in some SEC games on the weekend. And he's a guy who just wants the ball. He really wants the ball in that situation, and you have to have a guy like that. And he just happens to be a freshman, but it certainly doesn't feel like it.
Yeah, and he's probably a guy who might not pitch again after this season. I think, with the way it looks like, he probably is your starting shortstop next year. So this might be his only time on the mound.
I did see a tweet that they asked him, and they said that he will play shortstop in summer ball, and he also will pitch like when he comes back to LSU in the fall. So I wouldn't be surprised if he closes games out next year. It's kind of hard, I would think, to be like a mid-reliever.
Yeah.
But to come in and close out the game, I feel like that's a very possible thing. But we'll see. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of looking far ahead. And
hopefully, and he's definitely been a bright spot. But I think at first it was a need. he came in at a time of need. I mean, everybody knows about the injuries to this pitching staff, and it was kind of more of a need than a want. So hopefully next year it can kind of turn into a want instead of a need. But I mean, we'll see. That's next year. We still got this year to talk about. So
Yeah, and I mean, a couple guys had big weekends. Tommy Tanks, you knew he was going to have a big weekend after struggling in the regional. He got a hit in that Monday game, and we talked about it last week, John. I just felt big week coming from him. He homered two times, had some big hits. Kate Beloso, good to see him in his last time out there at home. Go out there, hit a couple bombs, big spots, getting hits, and then postseason Pearson, who has just been reliable ever since he's been back into the lineup.
yeah, I mean, I think that this will. I mean, talk about Cable Issa, that home run he hit, and it was to go up 3-4. The game was tied 4-1. The game was tied 1-1 at the time. 0-2 count, and he takes the ball a yard. I mean, you couldn't have had a better situation, a better home run. And after that, you give up the one home run next inning, but as soon as Cooper comes in, I mean, it really was a cruise. It felt like a fast baseball game. Cooper was really just, I don't know. I have to look at it, but he only allowed 2 hits. There was only 3 hits after Floyd came out. It was just kind of cruising. He cruised through those middle innings, which is exactly what we need. But I mean,
yeah, Riley Cooper's been fantastic statistically over in the postseason. He's been very, very good, and even leading back, I think 2 or 3 appearances into the regular season, he's been very, very solid for us, eating up innings and really only not allowing many hits at all.
And they talked about it on the show. He is, I think, the only guy on the roster, maybe I'm not sure, but one of the only guys for sure on the roster that's been to Omaha. Went to Omaha that first year with Jay Johnson, and was a good pitcher for them in Omaha. So he'll be relied upon for sure coming up.
Yeah, no doubt.
Luffy, you mentioned curtain calls. I think probably the most nostalgic and special curtain call of the weekend. It wasn't really that he got pulled, which I was sitting with some friends that were watching the game, and there was a little bit of a dispute on whether Jay Johnson should have pulled Dylan Cruz in the top of the 9th. Luffy, I knew you would disagree with me. I think Jay Johnson should have pulled Dylan Cruz from second base after he hit his double in the 9th inning, his last at bat at Tiger Stadium. The crowd, there is no way that if he would have put somebody else in there, I know they had to go back out for the bottom half of the inning. I understand that. But there is no way after that stadium erupted, after taking him out of the game, Kentucky was going to come back, especially being up 8-3.
See, the only thing that would worry me is that if they for some reason did tie it up, it's not like you can just it's not like an NBA timeout or an NFL timeout. If he goes out the game, he's out the game. You don't get Cruz anymore. So you go baseball has no timer. There's definitely been 5-run comebacks before. They come back and it's 8-8, and you have to have a hitter up. I mean, you probably have Josh Stevenson, who just hit the transfer portal. I just saw that. But Josh Stevenson playing center field? I mean, and you just can't have that. So it would have been awesome, but I just logistically, I don't know if you could.
No, I think he got his moment when he got that big hit to pretty much ice the game. At that point, you felt like the game was over, even though it was not over to the point where you could take him in. But him getting a second, turn around, throw the jersey up, and then giving the fans some love, and then he kind of does because they call time right now. Every time someone gets a double, there's because of the pitch clock and everything, they call time. He goes and takes off his batting gloves and everything, that his pads that they wear now, and that kind of was his moment. And seeing that video, and I watched probably 30 angles of that video of that hit. Like I definitely watch every one of them Monday. It was awesome. That like gives me chills thinking about it because I mean, maybe the best player ever to play here. So pretty special moment for him to get that hit. I think that's even cooler almost than taking him out. So
Yeah, I mean, and
Uh,
hopefully,
it's the game wasn't 16-0. So
yeah.
yeah,
If it was Friday night or Saturday night score, I think you could probably take him out.
yeah. I still
It's
think he
all
would. They
yeah.
would have taken him out.
But I mean, hopefully we get a better moment, not this weekend, but next weekend with him.
Look, I was just riding high. It was a hell of a way to go out for a, like you said, Luffy, potentially the best player to ever play baseball at LSU. And it's crazy that I'm not going to say he's being overshadowed by Skeens, but he's being supplemented by Skeens. And the fact that um, these two are on the same team is absolutely incredible. Sunday night was the last game at Alex Box until next baseball season. You know that stadium had to have gone through hell this season with all the fans and the opposing teams coming in and LSU waxing teams, hitting balls over the fence. I mean, they got to have a ton of stuff to clean up around there. Hello?
Yeah. Oh shit. Hold on, you froze, John. All right, I think you're back. You're back. Never mind. Keep going. Sorry.
All I was going to say is that they have to have a ton of stuff to clean up at Alex Box Stadium after this type of stuff.
And shout out to Martine at Workbox. Sorry, John, you cut off for a second. If you need a storage container, actually, I saw Martine. He wore his shirt to the game the other day. Shout out, Martine. You have to call him a Workbox. You need a storage container, portable office, portable restroom rental, roll-off dumpster, porta potty, the cleanest porta potties in the state. Call Martine at Workbox. It's 225-343-4886. It's 225-343-4886. Call Martine.
I also saw at the box beat reporter Chris Calderero rocking the shirt. I'm just saying, if you're rocking the shirt, if you rocked it last weekend, it's every game now. You got to wear it. We're getting to the point where, like, if you wear one thing, if you wore something Saturday and Sunday, you got to wear it again. Same draws, everything.
No doubt.
Yes. All right. LSU made it up to Omaha yesterday. As you're listening to this, we're dropping on Thursday. They had a nice little send-off at Alex Box Stadium on Wednesday. LSU is going to get comfortable up there, get situated, and take on Tony Vitello and the Tennessee Volunteers at 6 p.m. on Saturday. The winner of that game will play the winner of the Wake Forest and Stanford game, and the loser of that game will play the loser of the Wake Forest and Stanford game. So I think the best kind of way to go about this would be to take a look at the last time LSU played Tennessee. That was back at the end of March, early April Fool's Day. Luffy, you and I went to, I believe, the Friday night game of that series, or the first game of that series. And I can't remember if we went to either one of the second two, but just to kind of give a little bit of a look back at that. Game one, LSU took down Tennessee by a score of 5-2. Game two was a score of 6-4 in LSU's favor. And then the rubber match, not really the rubber match, but game three of the series was kind of a lopsided score. You wouldn't be able to tell by the amount of hits that each team had, but Tennessee won that game by a score of 14-7. That was when Thatcher Hurd wasn't the Thatcher Hurd we know today, right? You look back at game one, that was Skeens versus Dolander. I want to get y'all's thoughts on whether we're going to face Dolander on Saturday or potentially face Drew Beam, or maybe even if you have some other ideas on who might start against us on Saturday. Last time we faced Tennessee, Skeens went 7 innings, had 12 strikeouts, his typical deal. Game two, Ty Floyd went 5 innings, gave up 6 hits, 4 runs. And then, as we mentioned, Thatcher Hurd kind of got tore up in game three. So I guess to kind of start it off, what do y'all see the pitching matchup being as we head into Saturday? I know Jay's not going to announce it until the last possible minute, the 11th hour. But Rory, what are your thoughts on how you think the pitching matchup's going to shake out on Saturday night?
I mean, there's no way it's not Skeens Dolander.
Correct.
These first, well, especially the first game,
Yeah.
but like these first two games in Omaha matter so much. You save yourself so much, not only for to get to the championship round, but in the championship round as well. You go in there undefeated, you have way more guys than if you lose a game. So I think for everybody, I think Wake Forest is going to be throwing Rhett Lauder. I don't know who Stanford's ace is. Probably that kid who threw 156 pitches.
Quinn Matthews.
That's absurd, 156 pitches. But
crazy.
And you'll see Skeens and Dolander. I think, and to be honest, I think that's kind of what I want. Dolander, I mean, we know what Skeens is bringing to the table. Hopefully he has his stuff. You need a good game from Skeens.
So, Rory, last time we faced Dolander, it was the Skeens-Dolander matchup. We chased Dolander after 4 2/3 innings. He gave up 4 hits, 2 runs, threw 89 pitches. He kind of started getting high up in his pitch count. I'm not going to say we chased him because we only gave up 4 hits.
We didn't do well against him. We got the bases and got in some hits, and we could not convert
What we did do was drive his pitch count up, work the count.
Yeah. He struggled against us. He was not really good.
You have to against Dolander. You have to sit back, be patient, take the close calls that end up being balls, and get his pitch count up and go get him out of there early. As for reference, Tennessee beat Southern Miss this past weekend in their Super Regional at Southern Miss. Southern Miss won game 1, and then Tennessee won the next 2 games. Dolander went 8 innings, gave up 7 hits and 4 runs, threw 111 pitches. So if you kind of look at just the pitch count between when Dolander pitched against LSU earlier this year and what Dolander was able to do in 8 innings against Southern Miss, you kind of see that, yes, he's going to give up some hits. Yes, you got to work the count, and you got to get him out of there early. And, I don't think there's any other better scenario other than to have Paul Skeens on the mound going against Dolander. I don't think you mix it up in any other way, especially at this crucial point of the season.
No, I mean, you have to have pitched Skeens game 1. I mean, because he possibly could come back Thursday and a game to get to the final or an elimination.
Or he pitches the first game in the final.
Or he pitches the first game in the final. So you have to throw him that first game because of that. He could possibly pitch 3 times if it was the first game Saturday, Thursday, and then Monday, game 3. But that's why you have to win that first game because we saw in 17, Alex Lang. What did Maneri tell us in that outfield, John?
He literally came up to us. We were hanging over the outfield wall, and he said, I forget who it was. He said, Poche's going to go out there and kick their ass tonight, and Lang's going to come out there and kick their ass tomorrow. And we never got to see Lang in that game 3.
Yeah. You can't trust the game 3.
Yeah, so that's and maybe they don't throw him Thursday. I think that, like you said, Rory, I don't think they'll throw him Thursday. I could see him maybe come in and close the game. I don't know. Who knows?
I think so, and this could just be my thoughts, but if we're looking at the future, I think the only other time that you think about throwing him, ideally you throw him Saturday. But I think you could also throw him Friday night, or Thursday. If that's Thursday would be the must-win game, right? That's the if necessary.
Yes.
Yeah. So
we have to win that game.
We don't really want to put that into the universe yet, Rory. But if we were to possibly think about that,
I think that he could throw. I don't know if he starts a game, but I think that he could give you 3 innings.
So could he if we got up 2 runs and it was like the eighth inning, could you put him out there and then run him out there again on Saturday and give him like let him pitch game 2 of the final or no?
Probably not because it's like
Their
I
warm up and
know.
all that.
Well, it's once you get to a certain, and I'm not like 100% sure on the number, but once you get to like a certain number of pitches, like all the tissue in your arm is torn.
Yeah,
So like it's more like fatigue that sets in, you
yeah,
know. So if he got to, I think it's like in the 30 to 45 kind of area is why you can see like a closer pitch 1 inning and then come in the next night
so
pitch
yeah,
another inning. But like once you get to like that 45 mark, if he threw more than 1 inning, I don't think you could see him on a Thursday and a Saturday. I mean, you you really need and to talk about Saturday. I mean, Dolander hasn't looked great. He pitched against Clemson in that crazy 14 inning game. He gave up 7 hits, 4 runs against Clemson that game. But this is Omaha, the College World Series. You got to expect everybody to bring their A game.
yeah,
This is the biggest stage. Dolander has the stuff. Obviously, great pitcher, going to be a top 10, top 15 pick. I think any MLB team would be very happy with him. And he's going to have his stuff. Skeens hopefully has his stuff. You just, you know, need one of them to come, or you need Skeens to come through. And the thing is, the way this LSU team is built, Skeen Saturday, and I mean this is a bad thing to say, but Saturday is almost a must win.
yeah,
You can't throw Skeens and not win.
yeah. I agree. I was just thinking so it feels like 2017 where it's like we have enough guys, but like we need to get into that winners bracket, or if not, you're going to run out by that final series.
Yeah. The thing about 17 is, and I'm blanking on the name right now. I'm looking at it right now, and John might know because I'm pretty sure he's a Baton Rouge guy. Who pitched against Oregon State in the? Let's see.
So,
No, at the not Lang game, but the one after Lang.
Wasn't Eric, huh?
Let me see. I had the schedule pulled up, but no, it wasn't Eric.
The Baton Rouge guy, I think what you might be thinking of, Roar, is when Russell Reynolds was.
No, I'm not. I know. Oh no. Okay, Caleb Gilbert.
Yeah, yes.
He's from Alabama, so not a Baton Rouge guy. But
okay, my bad.
Yes.
The thing is, like, I don't know if there is a Caleb Gilbert on this team. Caleb Gilbert wasn't a weekend guy. You had your 3 weekend guy. You had Lang, Poche. You had Eric. I don't know if we have a fourth that I can, throw. And Gilbert was good. I mean, I don't know if anybody expected him. I think he went like 7. He really shut down the offense. He kind of won the game for us. I just don't know if there's a guy on this team that could go 7. I think pre-injury, you have probably 3 or 4 guys. You have Shores, you have, whoever. But
hey, we got the elastic arm of Riley Cooper, man. That guy can throw some innings. We know that. Jay's used run his ass out there time out and time again. And I think he's a guy, like, he's just one of those guys in a tournament like this that you love having, because when he's on, he can be really effective and eat up innings.
Yeah. No, yeah, I mean, I agree. I think Riley Cooper's going to come in a whole lot. And, I mean, this is just wishful thinking here, but I'm really hoping that we get – I mean, you get the Skeens, you get a Floyd, which, I mean, and we can get to that, the Monday game with Floyd. You're going to need better stuff from Floyd. But hopefully we get to that next game. I would love to see Tennessee again and have Hurd get another chance at Tennessee.
Yeah.
I especially with the way he's pitching now, he's fiery. he would get psyched up for that game. He would be ready to go. I think that could be a really special game. So I mean, I'm hoping we were playing Wednesday night and we got hurt against Tennessee.
John, are we doing predictions? Are we going to try to record Tuesday? Are we going to just hope that we're in the winners bracket and record Tuesday?
Well, I think if we were to assume that we weren't going to be in the winners bracket, that would be the wrong mentality. So,
okay, so we're not doing predictions. We're just doing predictions for what, the first 2 games?
Yeah, first 2 games, I think.
Hey, we are recording next week regardless. Okay, so I say we do predictions for the first 2 games. We'll get together on Tuesday. We'll give our predictions, and then we'll play it as it goes. Right?
Yeah,
we're recording next week regardless.
It's either last baseball podcast or first football podcast.
That's right.
Right, exactly. Next week. You have to do the funeral of LSU baseball. We've had multiple funerals of sports seasons as they have come and gone, but no, I think we can predictions for this weekend. I do want to, before we do that, I do want to kind of talk about Wake Forest and Stanford.
Wake Forest teams.
I don't know.
Okay. All right. Well, there was your prediction and your analysis of Wake Forest and Stanford.
Let's all just rank the teams out. Take LSU out from best to worst that we think. That'll be quick and easy. What do you think about that?
So, are you talking about all 8, or are you talking about just the bracket?
Let's rank all 8. Obviously, LSU's side is a little bit harder. We know that. Anybody that can look at the bracket can know that. But I'll do a ranking first. I know mine. Mine would be Florida, Tennessee, Wake, probably Stanford, Virginia, or TCU. Maybe TCU.
I would have a different ranking. And I know John I know you have some stuff prepared, I'm sure, on Wake and Stanford, so I want to hear, because I want to talk about Stanford.
I may have had Stanford too high.
I definitely want to talk about Wake a little bit, because hopefully we're playing them Monday night. But I think for me, I would rank LSU. I go Wake 1, Florida, Tennessee, TCU, Stanford, Virginia, or Roberts. Yeah. I think that's
so our top 3 are the same, Rory. So that's pretty close. Our top 3. I flipped. I have Florida, Tennessee, Wake. I just think that playing the SEC is just tougher. That's the biggest reason for it. I know they just killed Alabama. That's an SEC team, but Alabama was a really hot team that kind of run out of luck. They didn't really have the horses.
So I believe by the way, I believe we swept Bama whenever we played them during the regular season. But,
yeah, we did.
So I mean, y'all ranked the other teams in the field, but where do you stick LSU in there? Do you stick behind Wake Forest, kind of like how they were whenever LSU slipped from the number 1 spot? Do you put Florida above us just because?
Florida, LSU. I would have Florida 1. Their arms are they're deep. I mean, they got two aces. So
yeah, I think I would probably go Wake and Florida over LSU. I think LSU. The thing is, this is the LSU podcast. We love LSU. And I think we can all agree that LSU is going to need a star performance or a break. They're going to need – LSU's going to need Ty Floyd to throw an 8-inning or 7-inning stunner of a game, hitting his off-speed pitches in the strike zone, or they're going to need Hurd to throw one of those games. I think you look at Florida and Wake Forest, and those 2 teams, just to me, don't need that. They have, I mean, Wake Forest has three All-American pitchers, three All-American starting pitchers, you know, and then they just scored 22 runs. So I think LSU, not saying that they can't do it. I mean, this is baseball. Baseball it's not the football national championship where, you know, these four teams are, you know, I could give you six teams today and three of the six would be in the national champion in the Final Four for football. Like, baseball is different. Baseball's somebody can get hot, somebody can, you know, throw a game, and really LSU just needs one break or one, maybe two breaks. You just need Floyd or Hurd to throw a very good game, and you're in the spot. You're in the championship, and then once you're in the championship, I mean, who knows what's going to happen? I think that we probably would have all said that the LSU team in 2017 was probably better than that Florida team, but the Florida team won 2-0. I mean, you know, they won the first two games. I think baseball is just weird when you get to that 3-game series. That I'm not even looking at that. I'm thinking, you know, to get into that series, LSU's just going to need one break.
Rory, I think, and I agree with what you're saying, and I do understand like the point you're trying to make, but I think I don't know if I would call it a break. I think LSU needs to do what they are capable of doing. Ty Floyd,
that's true.
Ty Floyd is 7-0 on the year. Thatcher Hurd, the past 3 or 4 outings he's had, has pitched phenomenally. Riley Cooper can come in and eat up innings, and as long as you can bridge that gap with guys like Javen Coleman, Riley Cooper, Nate Ackenhausen, and you can get back to Skeens, the whole theme of the week should be, let's get back to Skeens. Let's do what we got to do to get back to Skeens. And, you know, I think it's kind of hard to say, you know, that LSU is going to come out there and absolutely shut pitch, and our hitting is going to be there, because in the past few weeks, SEC tournament, and at points towards the end of the regular season, our bats have kind of slowed down as well. So what I think LSU needs to do, Jay Johnson's the first to say, Ty Floyd is an undefeated pitcher for a reason. He gives up, as long as he doesn't give up 2, 3, 4 home run or 4-run home runs, right? Like, he just needs to eat up innings. That's the name of the game for this LSU team, because the bats are going to come around. And like I said, we just need to get back to Skeens, whether that be on Thursday, hopefully not, whether that be, you know, during the weekend. We just need to get back to Skeens. And I think, given the way that we played against Kentucky, which I don't think Kentucky was as good as we, you know, may have thought. Maybe they had a few breaks making the regional or the super regional, but I think they just got to do what they got to do. They got to get out there and have – you can't have one of your 3 starters go out there and just bomb and eat up the rest of your bullpen for the week because you may need them.
Yeah, I think what they need to do is Saturday after the win, they need to pull the Ty Floyd mood. I just saw something about this the other day, and I remember it. Ty Floyd, Game 5 of the 2016 NBA Finals, when the Cavs came back from 3-1. Ty Floyd, Game 5, you know, is at the Warriors. I forgot what he put. I think he got $200 from everybody, put it in the ceiling, and said, "We're coming back to get this Game 7." Skeens got to take the uniform off, put the uniform in the ceiling. Hey, everybody, we're coming back to get this Saturday night.
Rory, I do like that, but at the same time, Skeens could probably care less about that jersey, given that he's about to make $9 million in about a month or two. So, I'm kidding. Skeens, that's a complete joke. If that were me, I would 100% be chasing the money. But no, it also has been kind of cool. That is a good point. It also has been kind of cool to see. You know, during the regional and super regional, they actually get to interview the players on TV and everything. And like, Skeens is just such a professional, and you know, he just tells it to you like it is. He's like, yeah, I am very routine oriented. Yes, I'm going to go out there and throw hard. No, a 7-hour rain delay doesn't faze me. Please don't have any other rain delays up in Omaha. Luffy, I remember when we went to Omaha, the weather was fantastic. Hopefully, I haven't looked at the forecast, which is kind of shocking. But hopefully we'll get more of the same of that heading into this week in Omaha. All right. Predictions. I did want to say I did have a couple things written down. We did kind of touch on them. But this is more of a question. Would Wake Forest be as good if they were in the SEC?
Their record wouldn't be as good. No, I don't think. I mean, they're still a good team, but they've won 50-something games, I think. They're 52-10.
Yeah, I don't know if they're 52-10.
I'm not sure if they'd be 52-10 now. To answer quickly.
Okay.
Nah, I think that SEC or not, they're still a very good baseball team.
Yeah.
You don't have 3 All-American pitchers. You don't have guys, I mean, that are that good. That and it's not like they play in the MAC. They play in the ACC. It's still a very good. ACC had 3 regional hosts: Miami, Virginia, Wake Forest, maybe 4. I don't know. I couldn't name another one off the top of my head, but it's still a solid baseball conference. They're not playing nobody. So,
all right, predictions. I'm going to start with Luffy. Luffy, do you see us winning against Tennessee? And then let's just assume for this exercise that we're going to play Wake Forest on Saturday.
Monday.
On Monday. If we win and if we lose, we're going to play Stanford.
I'll take us winning against Tennessee and beating.
Don't do it.
Beating Stanford in the second game.
All right, so we're not going 2-0.
One thing to note: if we lose, we will be against Tennessee. We'll be playing during the day Monday, I believe, at 1. And if we win, we'll be playing the 6:00 game. So hopefully we win. About the work.
Yes. I do want to shout out, if we do go 0-2 up in Omaha, we go up there, we lose to Tennessee game 1, and then just say we play Stanford or Wake Forest in the losers bracket, we lose that. We are definitely going to head over to the House Bar in Tigerland in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Great spot to go watch LSU baseball. Jeff and Casey are huge LSU baseball fans. Casey texted us the other day. He had his out-the-box polo on. He was repping and ready to roll. He might be going to Omaha. I don't know. I haven't talked to him since LSU punched their ticket. But massive LSU fans over there. Great people, great atmosphere. It's summertime. You know what summertime means? Beer, pizza, and baseball. That is the 3 things that make up my summer. I mean, like Luffy, you can kind of attest to this. Like, we've been watching games at y'all's place the past couple weekends, and whether it be chicken, you can substitute the pizza for chicken wings. You can substitute it for, I don't know, if you really want to get crazy, you can substitute it for any sort of hors d'oeuvre you want. You could do pigs in a blanket. You could do spinach and artichoke dip with your Totinos. You could do pizza rolls. I'm going off on kind of a tangent here, but the one constant is that you want to feel like you're at home when you're watching baseball, drinking beer, and eating good food. And the only place to do that in Tigerland is the House Bar in Tigerland. Head on over to the House Bar in Tigerland. Follow them on Twitter at Tigerland House and on Facebook and Instagram at House of Tigerland and at thehouseintigerland.com. All right, Rory, prediction.
I think that you win Saturday against Tennessee. I honestly think it's like a 6-2 type of game. I think that you score some runs on Dolander. I think Schemes goes out there, shoves. You give up maybe a late run or 2, or maybe he gives up 1 home run, that kind of game. And then I think that you also win Monday night against Wake Forest. I just talked about Wake Forest and how good they are, but I think this LSU team just feels special. They feel like a good team. They feel like they're in the right place. I think and Monday night is a battle. I think it's like a 4-3 game or 4-4 game going into like the 6th or 7th inning, and LSU can just cardiac cats it, kind of pull something special, pull a hat out of their bag at the end of the game, and you going into Wednesday in the winners bracket and looking good.
I think I'm rolling with y'all, obviously. I don't know if that's a huge surprise or not. I think LSU's going to win the first 2 games. I think the Tennessee game might be a little bit more lopsided than you might think. I think if there's anybody who plays it safe, and I don't mean plays it safe as in doesn't take chances or doesn't give it their all, doesn't concede anything, I think it's Jay Johnson. I think Jay Johnson has studied Tennessee tooth and nail, knows everything about each player up and down. He's going to have LSU ready to rock and roll. Paul Steen's going to do what he does. I'm going to throw a crazy prediction out there. The odds on this would be kind of crazy, but I think Paul Skeens goes out there and throws 14 strikeouts in game 1 to tie Ben McDonald's record. I think LSU wins this game like 9-1 or 2. I think it's going to be one of those games. To be honest with you, Wake Forest, they beat Alabama 22-5 the other day and had 9 home runs. That is a little worrisome considering that Ty Floyd is kind of been a home run magnet lately. I do think LSU's bats will overpower pitching staff that hasn't faced this power or this caliber of a lineup consistently this year. I don't think you're going to find anybody that's going to predict Stanford to beat Wake Forest in game 1. I think Stanford was able to beat Texas in the Super Regional. If you remember correctly, Thatcher Hurd, I believe, started the game when LSU played against Texas earlier on a Tuesday night early on this season. And that wasn't even the Thatcher Hurd that we know now. So all that to say, I think LSU is going to beat Tennessee pretty handily, and then it's going to be a pretty good game against Wake Forest if we keep the home runs to a minimum. And I think LSU gets the job done to punch us into next week and keeps our podcast alive for another week.
All right, John, you know how we have to end it after the last 2 weeks. I've been hot with the ending.
All right. Before you do that, Luffy, I want to give a shout out to all of our great sponsors, the House Bar in Tigerland, Workbox LLC, Blaine Loop with Forte Realty, and the Boot Crew Media Network. And Rory, I don't know if you've listened the past couple of weeks. I know you've kind of been busy raising a newborn life and everything, but Luffy has been giving some really deep words of encouragement to the LSU baseball fans. A few people were disappointed in the previous week because they felt that
disappointed, John.
They felt that it wasn't enough to propel this LSU team into the postseason. But Luffy said he's sticking with it. So, Luffy, do the thing.
Well, Roy, do you have anything to say first before I?
Rory, it's great to have you back. I want to go ahead and say that it's great to see your face. I love you. It's great to have you back on the Out the Box podcast. And I don't know what could fire up the team more than seeing that bearded face right there.
We would have liked to see Crane, John James, Webster, Luke. Maybe that is the only thing that could bring us more energy, John. So maybe next week.
It's okay. He did make an appearance before the show on the baby monitor. I did get to see Crane tonight. Crane, John James, Webster, Luke the third is sleeping peacefully, getting ready for the storm, calm before the storm.
Yeah, he's getting his rest before Saturday night. But I mean, it's great. It's great to be back.
Go Tigers!
Wow. Hey, I I couldn't have said it better myself. I don't know where you come up with this type of stuff, but that was fantastic, Luffy.
Thank you.
We'll see y'all next week.
All right. Well, that